Today we're talking paintbrushes. I'm finally making a video about my Escoda brushes, and what can I say? The customer service is great. Yep. Keep watching. Let's talk. Hello art friends, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. I'm Aga, aka Hungry for Paint. I make watercolor paints and also videos about watercolor paper and now paintbrushes too. Today I want to talk to you about my paintbrushes that I ordered from Escoda, my Ultimo and Versatil brushes that I got last year. Before we do, I just quickly want to mention that there's a sale going on right now on my website. You can get Hungry for Paint watercolors for even 35% less than usually. So if that's something you're interested in, have a look. And now that that's out of the way, let's jump right in and we'll start with Ultimo paintbrushes. So here are the brushes I got. And the first thing that I noticed when I had a closer look at the round 6 is that the bristles look quite uneven, but since I thought that the appearance of the brush when it's dry doesn't say much about it, I wasn't too worried yet. But when I got the brush wet, it still looked uneven and it didn't come to a point at all. And I'll show you what kind of stuff I paint usually, so you know why I found this to be a problem. I enjoy doing illustrations like this quite a lot, where there's quite a lot of detail. So I knew that I wanted the brush to come to a sharp point, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get the details in, right? I don't really work big usually. A5 is my preferred format. So you get my drift. I got 2 small round brushes in order to be able to get a point. So that was the brush number 6. As you can see, the point is quite rounded with individual bristles separating and sticking out. And it looked even worse with the number 2. I'll wet the brush now to show you. Here's what it looks like wet. I'll show you a very cheap synthetic Lineo brush for comparison. This is a Lineo number 4. And here's the point that you get with the Lineo. And here's the Escoda. And I thought, okay, maybe this just looks bad, but maybe they actually work well. So I tried them out. And unfortunately they did not. To show you what I mean, I'll paint a very simple plant with leaves. First, using a synthetic Lineo number 6 brush that can hold a very nice point. And here's the Escoda number 6 round. And let's try to do the same thing. You can see that I had to go significantly bigger to even be able to paint the plant at all. And even so, I can't even dream of that kind of precision or sharp ends of the leaves. And here's the number 2. Here you can see that I'm trying to paint the stem and I can't, because there are those hairs sticking out that just won't let the brush touch the paper properly. So honestly, this is really painful and frustrating. I can't get it to paint any less rounded than this. And the rigor. The rigor. I wanted it because sometimes I like to do my illustrations with outlines. Look at how uneven the tip is. See, the same issue as with the rounded brush. The hairs that stick out won't let the brush touch the paper instantly. It doesn't feel reliable. I don't know what I'm going to get when I touch the paper. The flat and the mop, on the other hand, I have no issues with. They work great. You can load them up with a lot of paint and water and they can give you nice, soft, even coverage. I've been using Princeton Neptunes, Tintorettos and even those super cheap Lineo brushes and they all work fine for me for all kinds of details, not the Escodas. So I thought these hairs sticking out might be some kind of a fault in production, so I did contact Escoda. I contacted them via the form on the website and haven't heard from them for a while, but then I posted a bunch of stories on Instagram tagging them and they DM'd me asking to email them with details. I did, and a very nice person got back to me saying that they're very sorry. That is not right, as the Ultimo bristles should be soft and form a nice point. They said they're conducting tests on new brushes with the same filaments and that they'd get back to me as soon as possible. And after a week of silence, I thought, you know what, this could take who knows how long, and I was going on holiday. I wanted to take the new brushes with me, so I thought maybe I'll just try some other Escoda brushes instead, and I sent them an email asking if I could maybe get a few Versatil brushes instead of the Ultimos, as a bunch of people said Versatils are very nice too, and Escoda said okay. They asked me about my address, and a week and a half later they dispatched the new brushes, and here they are. Since I was only unhappy with the smaller brushes, the Rigger and the number 2 and the number 6, they only sent me those. I didn't have to send anything back, by the way. They didn't charge me for shipping or anything, so hats off to them for that. But unfortunately, when the Versatil brushes arrived, I realized that they might be suffering from similar problems. The Rigger actually looks better than the previous one. Here's the Versatil and here's the Ultimo, so you can see the difference. The Versatil looks much nicer. Let's paint a bunch of plants again. As you can see, these Versatils perform way better than the Ultimos. And even though the Versatil number 2 doesn't look too nice up close, and you can still see hair sticking out, it performs way better than the Ultimo. Still, in all honesty, I prefer my Lineos and I prefer my Princetons because they feel more predictable and more reliable, especially when I have a sketch to colour in. So, to sum this all up, do I like these brushes? Well, the mop and the flat one, yes, definitely. I like them and I use them. The round ones and the Riggers, not so much, not really. Really disappointed with the Ultimo ones. The Versatils are kinda and I can't say they're terrible brushes, but still, they should come to a sharp point. Escoda's own salesperson told me that. And they don't. They're rounded. They're not pointy. They will not give you a sharp point, the ones that I got. So yeah, that's disappointing for me because that's what I look for in a round brush. It might be different for you. These might be a great match for you. They do hold a decent amount of water and paint, so that's a plus. But personally, I don't enjoy them. I find them irritating just looking at them, at the bristles, at the hairs sticking out. No. I just can't. I don't like that, even if they end up performing decently. If you use Escoda brushes, please let me know in the comments. I'm dying to hear your opinions. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful, and I'd like to wish you a lovely evening or afternoon. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!